Hi, what's going on YouTube? What's up, Raider Nation? I'm Bubba the Raider. Can't see my face right now. I'm not real fancy with the extra camera, but I should get one of those because I find that I'm doing these more and more. It is the night before the draft. I call it Christmas Eve because to me that's what Christmas is supposed to feel like. Is what this is. I love the draft, even though our Raiders don't have a first round pick. And I'm gonna do a mock draft, and I'm gonna talk about a few things. Um, I was gonna do two videos, but I think I'm gonna just condense it into one and talk to you guys a little bit. I want to talk about some of the guys that I really like. I was compiling a list of guys I consider to be my guys, like the guys in this class that I'm really, really high on. Um, but I think I'm just gonna kind of talk about some of those guys as I go through this. I'm gonna do two mocks. I'm gonna start with a Raiders mock because the Raiders always come first. I haven't talked to you guys since before the Davante Adams trade. So we don't have a first or a second round pick. We traded those away for Davante Adams, and I couldn't be more thrilled. But I also found when making my list of my guys that the vast majority of them are wide receivers because that's what I spent the most time scouting this year because that's what I thought we needed. Now I don't think we need it as much. I still think it's a position we can address. I also believe that if we were to go ahead and bring in a guy like a Daryl Williams from the Bills to play right tackle for us, that it doesn't matter necessarily what positions we draft at all. You want to be able to draft best player available, and I know that's kind of the goal all the time, but that can't always happen because you have holes. And I really don't feel comfortable going into this season with the idea that our long-term starter at right tackle is Brandon Parker. I mean, I wouldn't mind moving Denzel Good there, or even, I don't know. I have hope that Alex Leatherwood will pan out, but I kind of think he's going to be a guard. But if we brought in a guy like Daryl Williams, then we could just draft the best player available, maybe pick someone up for depth at that position or to learn behind him for a year, and we wouldn't feel the need to force a tackle. But as of right now, I do feel like we kind of need to force a tackle depending on how it goes. And there's a couple of those guys that I really like. So I'm going to do 7-round mock. We don't have a first or a second. I'm not going to do any trades because you never can just predict those. Those are never predictable, I don't feel like. And then I'm going to do a first-round mock with all the teams, which will be very interesting since the Raiders aren't one of the teams. And in this process, I'll talk about some guys that I really, really like and some guys that I don't. So we get started, kind of cruise through this. Sorry if I've got a little bit of allergies going on. So I'm not going to do any trades. Oops. It's not letting me reject that. Oh, there's a little thing here. What is happening? Okay. We'll do. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. We'll do PFF. I know most people don't like PFF as much. I think that they give you a grade at the end. Pay attention to it, don't pay attention to it, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But let's try PFF if that's going to give me a hard time. Sorry about that. Okay. Cruising right through here. All right, we've got a couple guys that actually I consider to be some of, quote, my guys. Carson Strong is a quarterback that I like. I don't really like many quarterbacks in this class. I really like Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis is going to pan out to be something really special. Marcus Jones is very interesting. We could address the corner position. We could use depth there. Ultimately, I think he doesn't give us very much on the field right now that Amik Robertson doesn't. But where he is very, very unique is his return ability. He's a great returner. Kellen Dyche is interesting, but I see him more as a left tackle. He's pretty slight in his frame. But we do have one of my guys, the guys that I kind of really pound the table for. We got a couple of them, and that's Max Mitchell. I think my ultimate best pick here would either be someone like Daniel Faalele from Minnesota. He's just so big. I think he's so raw, and I don't know. You'd have to work with him. But Max Mitchell, I think Max Mitchell is a freaking great choice here. He's one of the guys that I really like. So I'm going to draft Max Mitchell. And I know it's kind of forcing that tackle position, but we really do need to address it. It is a hole. Okay. Come in here, kind of see what we've got. All right. We're kind of getting down there. So this would be a position that, like, yeah, if I was sitting here as the Raiders, I might want to accept a trade based on how this board has fallen. And I also don't feel bad reaching on someone because you're at that point where if you feel like there's a guy there that's really going to help you out, you kind of take him. I think Neil Farrell Jr. could be one of those guys. I think that this Spencer Burford's interesting. He's really big. Ultimately, I think I'm going to rock with Damone Clark. I think Damone Clark, he's had this injury issue. He could have been in the first round conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and take this linebacker here. I think that that's a really good pick for us. So we've taken a tackle, linebacker. We should have 2 5ths and a 7th left. It's interesting seeing Zappe. Not huge. I think he's a good quarterback, a good depth piece. I thought about taking Lecious, I think that's how you say his name, Smith, in the 4th. So the fact that he's here is interesting. Okay, so I'm going to go with Smith, the guard, right here. And we have back-to-back picks. What are we sitting at? I know, again, you take the best player available. We don't need to go through position-wise, but there are a few guys that I really like. So I'm going to take, this might be a stretch here. I don't think so. I'm going to take Tyquan Thornton. And look, I know, but I also really like Reggie Robertson. He's another guy that I think his explosion and his speed and his big playability is great. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Thornton. And I know that he picked up a lot of steam because he ran a superb 40 time. I think he ran a 4.28, which is the same as Henry Ruggs. You don't want to make that comparison, obviously, but he has the same speed. He's 6'2". He doesn't have drop issues. I think I already had 2 drops last year. I just think he brings another element to this offense that, you know, we brought in the best receiver in the NFL. Hunter Renfrow crushed it last year. That almost sounded like I was saying Hunter Renfrow's the best receiver in the NFL. Maybe. Wait a minute. I doubt he's still on the board. There's one more guy. So he's not. Jelani Woods is another guy I'm really big on. Anyway, replacing that speed with a guy like Thornton, I just think it would just take our offense to the next level. So this has been offense heavy, I know that, but we kind of are in a good position for that to be possible. It's just a crapshoot with these mock drafts. You just never know how the board is going to fall. Oh, I love this. We're going to take Noah Ellis right here. I can't believe he's still on the board. This defensive tackle from Idaho. It's a position we need. We need depth. We need players here. So let's see what the grade I got. I feel really good about that. There's other guys I really like. I love Alec Pierce. I love George Pickens. Yeah, not a bad draft at all, really. 3 A's, a B. I'm surprised they gave the Thornton pick a C-. I really think he's good. I was listening to someone talk about him yesterday and think, there's really not a lot of reason why he couldn't be a second round pick, to be honest. So I don't know. I'm high on him. But anyway, what I was saying is Pickens. I love Pickens. I love Alec Pierce. I think Alec Pierce is special. Romeo Doubs was a guy that I was from Nevada that I was really, really high on, especially early in the scouting process. And then Jelani Woods, the tight end. I think that I'm really glad that there's no teeth to the rumor about Darren Waller. If there was, I would want to draft Jelani Woods, and I still kind of do. Like, I think he would make an amazing third tight end. He's 6'8", 260, and he ran a really good 40. He catches really well. I think he's my number one tight end in this class for sure. A couple defensive guys. I really like Verone McKinley. I'm a big Ducks fan. And he's my favorite Ducks player in this draft. And I know Kayvon Thibodeau's up there, and I'll talk about him in a little bit. I love Kayvon, but Verone McKinley's just a ball hawk. And I think that we could always use that in our secondary. I like Brian Asamoah, the linebacker from Oklahoma. I like Zion McCollum. I like Tariq Woolen. Those really tall, fast guys intrigue me. So those are some of my guys. Let's do one more. I'm going to do one round, and I'm just going to pick every team. Now, I doubt there's very many people watching this that aren't Raider fans or my students. If you're not a Raider fan, if you're a fan of one of the teams I'm mocking for and I don't do a good job, let me know. I've very specific with my scouting this year. I didn't have as much time as I normally do. And then after we traded our first and second round pick, I really focused on more of those mid to late round guys. And I don't know these rosters like I know the Raiders roster. I know the Raiders roster like crazy. So we're going to start our draft. The first pick is fascinating to me. You're hearing a lot of talk about Trayvon Walker, and I could see that. If I was making this pick, I think I would go with Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu. And I also might, you'll never see a corner go first, but Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner is special. Ultimately, this is going to be a good combination of, a blend of what I think should happen and what I think will happen. Obviously, it won't happen this way because I'm not predicting trades, but I ultimately think it'll end up being Aiden Hutchinson. I really do. Then what I think is going to happen is I think you're going to get a situation where you're going to get Trayvon Walker that goes next. There was talk about the Lions not liking Kayvon Thibodeau, and I actually think that that's true. A lot of people think that he's going to fall 6, 7, 8. I really like him here to Houston. Really like him here to Houston. But I'm actually going to take Evan Neal. I think that they're going to end up in a position, they're going to want to protect Davis Mills for the year to have a good chance to see what Davis Mills will do. And then, and then see if they need to move on. And if they move on from Davis Mills, they have a really nice, solid tackle. I do think Evan Neal is the best tackle in this class. So that's what I'll go with. This is where I think Sauce Gardner will go. I think the Jets, he's just too good. And I know Darryl Stingley probably is a more talented corner, but I just think Sauce is number one. All right. This is interesting. I think that we're going to get for the Giants. Kind of a similar situation. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. I think that this is where you'll get a guy like Ike Ekwonu or Charles Cross. Ultimately, I think Ikem is better. I'm going to take him for the Giants here. The Panthers. I really think the Panthers are going to do something stupid, if I'm honest. And I think that they really like Kenny Pickett. And for whatever reason, that's just what I picture. Kenny Pickett going to the Panthers. So I'm going to take that. I think that the Giants are walking away winners because they're going to get Kayvon Thibodeau, and they're going to feel great about that. I think that the Falcons here, they have some needs. My boy Marcus Mariota is in Atlanta, and I think that that's really cool. I hope he has every shot. So for that reason, I know he's hurt. I'm going to give them Jameson Williams. Do I want to give them Jameson Williams? Yeah, I really do. I'm going to give him Jameson Williams. Okay, this is one of my favorite picks. I believe that it's interesting with Stingley here. I believe that the Seahawks could take Charles Cross, which would blow my mind. He's fallen. It's interesting that it's fallen this way. Anyway, they could take Charles Cross. They could take Stingley. I think that they are going to take my favorite quarterback, and that's Malik Willis. I don't know why. I just picture him there. I think that's what's going to happen. The Jets walk away from this. This very well could be a pick that's traded for Deebo Samuel, but I'm going to give them Garrett Wilson. I think that's an amazing grab for them. Washington. Guard, center, linebacker. I mean, this could be where Stingley goes. You know, Washington's an interesting team. They're a team that feels like they're on the cusp of a collapse or on the cusp of something special. I think what I'm going to do for Washington is I'm going to give them Tyler Linderbaum. I think he's a very special player. I think he's one of the better centers we've seen in a while. I'm going to go ahead and give them him. This is where Stingley's going to go. I'm going to give Derek Stingley, to Minnesota. I like that pick there. This is where Cross will go. His fall has finished. I really don't think he'll fall. I think that this is interesting. Charles Cross there. They really walked away with 2 stud tackles. That would be incredible. Could you imagine Charles Cross and Evan Neal? I really doubt that happens, but that's all right. Okay. We got the Ravens here. I think that the Ravens are going to take Jordan Davis, to be honest. They need D-line help. Calais Campbell, I believe, has left, and even he's ancient, so I like that pick for them. So I love Kyle Hamilton. He's fascinating to me. He's falling a little bit because of a 40 time he ran in his pro day. Ultimately, I'm going to give, I don't really know. What's up with the Eagles? I'm going to give the Eagles Hamilton. I think he's just too big a talent that you find a place to work him in. Okay. So this is an interesting spot. This is a spot where I could see someone like Sam Howell going. If Malik Willis fell or one of the quarterbacks fell, I could see that. Um, I really think receiver is probably the way they will go. And the receiver I would take, I love Chris Olave, right? But I ultimately think that they'll go with Drake London if he's on the board. So I'll give him Drake London. Okay, this pick. I'm going to pick a player here that is the opposite of my guy. I don't think he's going to succeed in the NFL, and I really hope the Chargers take him for that reason. And that is Trevor Penning. I'm not big on Trevor Penning. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think with good coaching, he could really be something good, but I think he plays too tall. He gives up his chest too much. He has horrible hand placement, and I know he's aggressive in how he finishes his blocks sometimes, but half the time I just see a hold call. So I'm going to give him to the Chargers because I hate them, and I think that that's a position that they'll take. So the Eagles here, they went Kyle Hamilton. I'm also going to give them Devin Lloyd. I like Devin Lloyd a lot, and I ultimately think he'll go above Nakobe Dean, although I like Nakobe Dean more. So I'm going to go Devin Lloyd here. So the Saints, it almost feels like they made this trade up to get a quarterback. Let me think about this for a minute. I'm torn right now between giving them a quarterback and giving them Bernhard Raimann. But I just don't foresee a position where they trade up like this. I think they gave up their first next year, which is a pretty good quarterback class as it looks right now, to not take a quarterback. So I'm going to take Sam Howell. Am I going to take Sam Howell or am I going to take Ritter? I'm going to take Howell. I think that Sam Howell is the guy. Now, this is another. I didn't think there'd be this much quarterback thought going into it on my behalf, but I just think that the Steelers here, this is really difficult, picking for teams that you don't watch that well. I feel like they're going to make a move up and try and get a quarterback, and they could go Desmond Ritter. But I think they gave Mitch Trubisky a couple-year deal. Maybe they don't feel the pressure to do that. Olave would be interesting. They just lost Juju. I feel like they always have guys. They draft receivers so well. I'm going to give them Bernhard Raimann. I like Bernhard Raimann. I think he's going to be good. I'm going to give the Patriots with this pick. We're going to go Karlaftis. Feels like a Patriots guy. Now, here's our pick where we were at. There's a lot of interesting players on the board. I don't know how I feel about McDuffie, to be honest with you. A couple of guys I really like are still on the board. I think, for me, if I was the Packers, I would definitely take Chris Olave here. I just think you have to give Aaron Rodgers some weapons. Multiple weapons, probably. And I think Olave he might be my favorite receiver in this class. I need to start making some, I feel like a lot of these are kind of where those guys are going to go. There's going to be a couple guys in here that people think are a second round, like we did with Alex Leatherwood, second round pick that get in there in the first. So it'll be interesting. So let's see here. This is a great spot for Zion Johnson. Yeah, here we go. I think that would really benefit the Cardinals. Linebacker. Nakobe Dean's there. That's just kind of fun. The idea of Dean. Tyler Smith. I'm going to give Devontae. Well, no. You know what? I'm going to give McDuffie to the Cowboys. They just lost a corner. I think they cut him, or they're on the verge of cutting him. He was a second-round pick last year over a shooting incident. So I'm going to go Trent McDuffie here for them. Defensive interior. I mean, I truly feel like Devontae Wyatt will go in the first round. I think he's just as good, probably in different ways, than Jordan Davis. But I think Jordan Davis just has these intangibles that are going to propel him up. But I'll say, man, Treylon Burks is interesting. I really like the idea of that. Sky Moore. A lot of people are high on Travis Jones. You know, I could see Breece Hall. I know that they don't need a running back technically, but they're an interesting one. Sorry. This is difficult. I'm going to rock with Devontae Wyatt. I just think he's too good a prospect to pass up. I'm trying to make it like more interesting than just the top guy on the list or whatever, because you know that someone's going to reach on someone. I think that this is a really interesting place for Treylon Burks, especially if there's any truth to the rumor that what's that receiver's name that I'm having? It's been a long day. Sorry. Any truth to the rumor that A.J. Brown is unhappy or might get traded or might get moved. And ultimately, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Treylon Burks. I like that. Even if he doesn't, like, that's a good pairing. Man. I don't like this. The Buccaneers are I just feel like they're such a solid roster that realistically they could do damn near anything. And I don't know the Buccaneers roster. I feel like they have everybody. And I think because of that, they could take the best player available. I think that it would be disgusting for them to draft Nakobe Dean, if I'm honest, and pair him with Devin White. And that's what we're going to do. That's gross. So we gave we gave with our pick, the Packers, Chris Olave. We're going to give him George Pickens, too. We're going to go back-to-back stud receivers. I really think George Pickens is worth a first, and I like that that pairing. All right, the Chiefs. I hate the Chiefs. I just thought I'd say that. I hate the Chiefs. We're going to give them... I'm a big Ducks fan. We're going to give them... I was going to look for Anthony Brown, who was horrible for the Ducks last year. No, I'll be legit. I'm going to give him Lewis Cine. Sorry. Sneezing. They lost Honey Badger. I think they'll want to replace that. They're a team that could move up. I'll give them Sky Moore. He's got some speed. Try to replace Hill. Won't be able to, but it'd be interesting. Okay, guard, center. a lot of people really are getting high on Tyler Smith, and I've heard talk that a lot of people think he is going to ultimately play inside. But let's see what else we got. Kenyon Green is very interesting. Um, he's kind of the opposite. He's a guard that a lot of people think can play outside, and I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Kenyon Green. All right. With the last pick, this is an interesting draft class. I don't know how many of these guys I got or how I feel about it. It's hard when you're drafting for teams you don't know their roster as well as I know the Raiders. I think this is going to be, whether this is the Lions who make the pick here, depending on what happens. I really think that this pick will be a quarterback. I think someone's going to trade back in, and I really think Desmond Ridder has a little bit of a low ceiling but a high floor. And I don't know. The Lions need everything. Yeah, I'm going to go with Desmond Ridder. All right. Let's see what we got. I don't think they gave grades for these, but Hutchinson, Walker, Neal, Gardner, Key. Man, the Giants walked away big winners. I think that this pick here is not a pick I would make. I think that that's a loser pick, to be honest. I think this will help the Falcons in the long run, but not necessarily right away. Yeah, I don't know. All in all, some interesting picks, but I don't really care what any of these teams do, to be honest. I'm watching the Raiders. I'm hoping we address the right tackle position and find some good depth and some good pieces. I'd like some more speed on our offense. You saw me with the Thornton pick do that. So anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Sorry I'm a little scatterbrained. I'm really excited for the draft. So if you like this, leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Tell me why. If you agree with me or disagree with me, go ahead and leave a comment. I'd love to engage in some discourse with you. And as always, just win, baby.